Welcome to the new version of Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast, the podcast for real estate agents everywhere. I'm Lisa B, and together with Bjorn Kunzel, we're going to talk about everything real estate. We talk about what's working, what's not working, what's new, what's old, technology, and anything else to do with real estate. We'll answer your questions from the Facebook group Let's Talk About Real Estate. So if you have a question, we can help. Join the Facebook group today, and again, welcome to the show. Okay, welcome to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast for this week. Today I have Bjorn Kunzel and Mark Lloyd. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Hey, Lisa.
Thanks for having us again, Lisa.
I'm really excited about this. We've got somebody who's changed their life dramatically by joining eXp. So Bjorn, would you like to do a further introduction about Mark as you work with Mark over in South Australia and you've seen his life change?
I certainly would. Mark was an agent that I looked up to and aspired to before I started my career. I've been in the industry coming up to 18 years, and this gentleman is coming up to 24 years of industry knowledge. He's very well known for being a highly ethical agent. He's a top performing agent. He's had years where he sold well over 100 homes. He's very consistent. He's consistently been a performing agent, but he does it with the right attitude. He was actually the gentleman that came when I was in the classroom learning how to become a real estate agent that I am today, who came and did a presentation. At that stage, I believe Mark was with Ray White at the time, if I remember correctly. And it was midway through the year. And this gentleman came in with a big smile on his face, walked straight up the front and said, I'm on track to do $600,000. And we're talking 18 years ago. $600,000 then is probably the equivalent of $1.2 million here today. So this gentleman inspired me when I was a student learning the game. He's been a fantastic industry leader for the past 24 years. So without further ado, Mark, it's an honor to have you here at eXp, and we're so grateful that you came and chose us.
Definitely. And
thanks, Bill.
Your best year was 132 sales. So that's nothing to sneeze at, so so to speak. So what made you take your first look at eXp? I know you sort of had a look, you went away, you came back. And I'm interested where you were working, like where have you worked previously? Like what franchises have you worked? So that's a double barrel question.
Okay, so I guess I've come from maybe 4 major franchises. So I've had an opportunity to see a lot of how it all starts, and obviously starting from the beginning back in 2002, I think it was there. So I've been doing it for about 23, going on to 24 years, as Bjorn said. Started with Ray White, spent the first 10 years of my career with Ray White. And I was lucky enough to make the #1 salesperson there in 2007 for SANT. And as you mentioned, 132 sales. So it was quite a big year for me. Average com was about $5,000 back then. So, you worked pretty hard for your money, but it was still $600,000 gross com year. And to me, that was just like, wow, it was amazing. But you still didn't earn the sort of money that we're getting with the eXp. Then sort of grew out of the Ray White thing, and as you do, you move on. I think look, for different reasons, you sort of move on from different companies. I had the opportunity to move into Rain and Horn, which dominated my local area, and they were doing very well for a while. I lost a little bit of traction, and they did sell out. So I was unfortunately part of a sellout, and I wasn't overly comfortable with that. So again, I'd moved on to another. That was after about 8 or 9 years, moved on to a large franchise in the area, Harcourts, and they were doing really well. And I thought at that point in time, that was when I actually spoke to yourself, Lisa, and Bjorn, and started to consider the eXp thing, because I was friends with Bjorn. I'd known Bjorn for some number of years. And he was starting to speak, the eXp's got to be the way to go. Now, I was pretty curious, but maybe a little skeptical, because it was only 18 months or there roundabouts. It was a very, very new company that had hit Australia. And I think I just watched with keenness, and just to, let's see what unfolds. But I never, ever took the step. I think I just had a bit of a chat back then, was a little bit dubious, and moved into the Harcourts thing. And lo and behold, I got sold off with the business again to Harris. And again, no disrespect. It was great working with the franchises. I think they give you a great grounding as an agent to learn the basics and to learn what your business needs. But after 23 years, it became a little bit stiff. And especially, being, again, sold off to the Harris Group, a lot of competitive agents within that group. And unfortunately, I felt that maybe the competition was not so much other agents outside the franchise, but the agents within the group and the franchise. They become your biggest competitors because of a shared database, and you were fighting over clients and things like that. So to me, at that point in time, it was a great opportunity to relook at where my business was going after 23 years. So the chance to re-chat, and I think me and Bjorn had always kept that communication up. And sometimes if it's not now, it may be in 2 years' time or 5 years' time when you feel comfortable. I think it was about 3 years from the time we spoke in 21. Last year was 24. So it was about right, just a bit over 3 years from the time we had that initial chat to the time that I took the plunge to come over to eXp, which was just, it was a big step. I think I was really, really worried about what people may be thinking. There's a lot of agents that have that little bit of a stigma as to what eXp was all about. But it's not until you get here you realise what it is all about and how it benefits yourself as an agent. It's been amazing.
What made you take your look at it though? Like what drew you in? What was it beyond said, or what was it that you saw?
Let's be honest here. Every agent, I mean, if you said to me you didn't want to earn 100%, I'd say you were lying. Every agent would want to earn 100%, and for an agent to say to anybody, you, me, or whatever the case may be, oh, I'm happy earning 70% or 65 or 75. Yeah, you may be happy and you might be happy with that support, but I think, as an agent, I mean, I've sold myself for 23 years. I've worked nearly every weekend for 23 years. I want something back. I want something that, that's going to put me in a position that's financially free for the rest of my career. Now I'm getting to the pointy end of the stick. I'm in my 50s. I want things to be, I want to work smarter. I don't want to work harder. And after 23 years, I think the real estate industry is becoming very competitive, whereas eXp, the opportunity to make more money and have far more remuneration from not only just commission, but different avenues. And I'm already starting to tap into those avenues now and starting to see that reward. It's my business. It's not somebody else's. And I think to me, that's what hit home is I was able to do it for me and not somebody else and make more money. I mean, ideally, that's what we're doing. If you're a real estate agent, you don't want to make money, you're in the wrong business.
Yeah.
I mean, it is great. You want to deal with people, but that's what it's all about. That's why we come to work, and that's why it's a career.
Definitely.
It's interesting you mentioned there about when you left your last business and you came to eXp, there was more competition within the business than what there was from external agents. So let's talk about that and elaborate on that, because you've been with us for now coming up 12 months and you've made the top 5 for GCI and also for transactions. So you're definitely making moves very fast. How have you found it with your past business, listing and selling property, how difficult it may have been to list and sell and the competition amongst colleagues, versus now with eXp, how easy it is to list and sell and the collaboration with colleagues? Let's be honest about that. We really want honesty, brutal truth, how you're finding things.
Okay, it is a good question. I think, first of all, coming from a franchise, you've always got to do it their way or the highway. Some franchises have that little bit of flexibility, and I think, that's important. But with eXp, you've got great flexibility. So I think I've been able to tailor my business around not only my needs, but the client's needs as well, which is important. Ultimately, it's about your client.
You mentioned that when you were in your previous business and when they sold out to another organization, that you found that it was a very competitive environment.
Yes,
that you were competing against other people within your office for listings because we had a shared database, versus now at eXp, we've got individual unique databases. So no one else from another agency, from another agent within the agency can see your database is yours, Mark. My database is mine. So how have you found the collaboration amongst eXp versus the competition at your previous agency?
Okay. Yeah. I think it's one of those things where, yes, it's certainly coming from like Paris, for instance. I mean, other salespeople, your biggest competitors, and a collaborated database is nothing but frustrating. Now, for somebody like me that's been in the industry 23 years, I thrive on building relationships and my past clients, which is become increasingly harder. So that database means more to me than ever. Now, coming to eXp, I've got an exclusive database where I'm not fighting clients. I've got all my own clients and I can put them in, and I'm not having to go, that's my client, and give that client up, especially if you've spoken to them 3 or 4 times. Ultimately, the client's going to list with whoever they feel comfortable with. And again, that communication there, you don't want to obviously, double dip and tread on colleagues' toes. But I think the collaborative point of view is we're always happy to work as a team. I think, I've been into listings now where I've been in, and other colleagues from eXp have been in there. And rather than go, no, just let me list and sell it, that collaboration to work together and work as a team is far greater than what it ever has been from a franchise point of view. Everybody's always happy to help, happy to jump into there. I mean, look, obviously it's one of those things. I've always flown. I'm not solo. I've had PAs over my time, so it's great to have that help. But everybody's always happy to help in eXp and give that collaboration if need be. So it's been great. It's been really, really good. I think it's moving forward. It's given me greater flexibility, and certainly I'm not fighting everybody in eXp for my clients. I think I'm able to now recreate those relationships with my clients and be happy and not lose half of my database to people within the system. And that was extremely frustrating coming to eXp before, where I've come from. I think that was probably one of my biggest gripes.
Got a lot more control. So, Mark, how has your life changed?
My life changed because I guess we talk about eXp being freedom. It does provide more freedom. It's funny, I said to Bjorn, probably the first month or two, I felt like I was like cheating on my wife. You're not going into an office on a daily basis. And I was so used to doing that for 23 years. And all of a sudden you're not going into that office and you go, not what am I doing, but I've created a routine around my home office. I've got a great home office set up. And it hasn't changed. I still get in the shower early in the morning, still, whether it's the eXp t-shirt or a proper shirt, still get dressed for the day, still do what I need to do to be able to move on. And it's been great. So greater flexibility. And I guess because unfortunately my wife's health hasn't been the greatest over the last 12 months. So it's given me a little bit of a chance to do what I need to for her at home, and worry about the family side of things as well. But not only that, the remuneration side of things has been a real eye-opener for me. I think, it's great. I've always played the safety net over 23 years, and it's good to play the safety net. But when I say that, retainers and things like that, we all don't want to jump off a cliff, I think. But once you come onto eXp and you see how that remuneration works, it's just amazing. It's been an eye-opener. I think I've earned more in the first 3 months this financial year than what I have the last 10 years, which is just crazy.
Answer my next question, Mark. I was going to ask you how life looks now at eXp from a financial point of view. Like, let's keep it real compared to what it did previously. But I think he rings me all the time, Lisa, and he's got this laugh when he's on the phone. He's like, mate, he's like, I can't believe this. Is this the real deal or what? He's like, this is crazy, Bjorn. I've done X, I've done Y, I'm doing this, I've got this going on. And Mark's actually said to me in his own words, thank you for not giving up on this eXp thing with me, because, mate, I'm living my best life. And he's never had more money than what he's ever had. But tell us about what that looks like for you, Mark. Like how that's really changed life from a financial point of view, from a real gutsy point of view. You don't have to give us your numbers, all right, your income, etc. But how does it look compared to all of your previous years, wherever you were?
I'll be honest. I've lived a comfortable life, but I've lived a week-to-week life. We've only ever had one wage coming in for most of it. It's one of those things where we've had kids and twins, and very old and traditional sort of family where I always had mum at home, and we've done the same with our kids and things like that. So I've been the main breadwinner of the family. So it's been more of a week-to-week thing for many, many, many years. I positioned myself to come into eXp. I think it was, don't get me wrong, it was now's the time. But, financially, you put a little bit of money aside just to make sure that, coming off of a retainer and going on a commission-only wage, I was going to be able to float for a few months and make things happen. But boy, it's not until you start to see then all of a sudden you've got your commissions coming at 100%. and you go, wow, is that right? You know, there's 100% there. And, you know, if you've got an average com of 12 or 13 or 14 grand, you just get the whole lot. It's not a split, and there's no franchise fee coming off the top. I mean, look at Ray White now. I think they're up to 8, 9, 10%. And then whatever split you get left after that, and then all your expenses. And a lot of these bigger companies charge you for in-house marketing. Want a design put together, it's going to cost you 75, 80 bucks. Yeah. So at the end of the day, when you get your statement, you've got expenses totaling $2,000-3,000, which get taken off. You know, your commission that's already been raped of franchise fees and a split, and you've not got a lot left. And I think it was like that on a continual basis. And the only way to beat that is to get 4 or 5 settlements in a row on a month, and you go, oh, that was a good pay. But in reality, it probably wasn't. Come and join eXp and get 100%, and then you'll go, wow. You know, and I think that's probably what's blowing my mind is it was fairly easy to cap, but once you start 100% coming in, it's like, you don't look back.
I remember when I showed you that our Canva setup, the Canva enterprise that we've got, just before Lisa gets on to the next question. And Mark said, so how much do these cost? And I'm like, this is all free, Mark. Like all these videos, all these resources are all free. He's like, nah. He's like, I used to, I think it was at Harris. He's like, I used to have to pay $75 for one of these to be drawn up. I'm like, mate, you just click, you put your name in there, you put your face in there, and it's done, mate. This is all free. He's like, mate, this is the gift that keeps on giving.
Mate, I love it. I even have Canva on my phone as well. I don't know if you can see that, but I carry it around on the digital app, and you know, it's the whole bit's just fantastic. So from a technology point of view, it's great.
So good. Now you've mentioned about collaboration and all of that sort of thing. So how has the support, the culture, the collaboration been for you since you've joined eXp?
Obviously, you're not in an office environment, Lisa, which makes things that little bit more. You've got to do it for yourself. So you wonder, who am I going to go to? Who am I going to turn to? eXp's laid out really, really simple. You've got a listings team, you've got a contracts team, you've got an admin team. And I think you've just got to identify where you are in the process of, you know, are you at the beginning of the process? Or you go listing team. Rachel does a great job. Once you've got the contracts, you obviously send it off to the contracts team and get it processed. There's an admin team for all your accounts, which is great. So it makes things fairly simplistic if you're obviously running your own business. You know, I haven't found that too hard. And then of things like internal communication, we run a Slack, it's like Messenger or whatever the case may be. It's an internal communication, and I've found that to be quite efficient. You know, if you've got a problem, whether it's on the Rec CRM or in general, you've got a problem, just jump onto there, type it in. Within a couple of minutes, you've got an answer or somebody chasing something up. So I've found that to be quite beneficial. So the whole thing's pretty streamlined. The support, we've got weekly Zoom meetings, and you can choose to do as much or as little of it as you want. Again, because I'm a fairly busy fellow, I just sort of tend to cherry pick the sessions and go, this will be a good one, or yeah, I could relate to that. And there's others that I'll go, nah, look, you know, I know all about that, and I'll choose to use my time wisely. So, but the support from that side's been great. Definitely, you've got to have that entrepreneurial attitude. And be seeking it rather than it come to you. You know, I think, you know, it's all there. It's definitely all there for any agent that wants to look at it.
And the culture.
Is it easier?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, Les. Is it easier to list property now, or is it harder to list property now, or is it the same as what it's always been? This is a question that agents want to know.
I think the biggest fear, and I've learned the biggest fear from agents is I have no office. So if you think you've got no office, you think you have no presence. And I think really now in this day and age, you've got to understand that it's like print media. Print media is gone. It's all digital and no different. You know, we talk about the traditional office as opposed to the office in the cloud. You know, we're just using better resources. Everything's online. As an agent, and I think it took me a little while, and I'll be honest, my biggest fear in joining eXp wasn't the unknown, and it's probably the biggest fear of a lot of people thinking about coming on board is what other agents think, what other people think about what happens when I go and join eXp. We're a multicultural, organization. And I think right now you could use that to your leverage and your advantage. 70% of my buy set out there are ethnic buyers. They're Indians, they're Afghans, they're Chinese. And I think really at the end of the day, to be able to, collaborate, be able to use these people in today's business. And when you're going to list to Mr. and Mrs. Seller, to be able to identify your buyer set's very, very important, to say that this is going to be your buyer. And we've got people within the company that are going to be able to help leverage that when we come to dealing with them, whether it's an auction, whether it's at opens, or whether we've got communication barriers. We've got ways to be able to get around that. But again, I think the biggest fear is don't worry about what other people think. I think, everybody's got an opinion, and we all know what opinions are about, and I think in this day and age opinions have been greater than ever. Why? Because social media is out there and people can't stop holding back. There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there, and you don't want to be seen as looking stupid. Now I'm on board. I think, look, the runs are there, and I think you'd be silly if you're not willing to look at the model, because you're going to cost yourself money. There's a lot more money to be made with this organisation because of that reason.
Yeah. And you're putting that money back into your family rather than to your old boss, which is, and you don't have to say, but you mentioned to me offline that you've bought some of your dream possessions that, that's changed your life as well. So it's not just, you've made lots of different changes as far as your freedom financially and all that sort of stuff, but it's also rewards as well, which a lot of agents don't do. So, I mean, that must feel amazing as well.
Look, it is. I think, again, I've always lived from week to week. This year, I haven't had at all to worry about living week to week. I think just that little bit of financial freedom, and the thing is once you've opened it up, it's there forever. It's not going to go away. It's there, and you're going, well, when's it going to end? Because it's just not. Just keep doing what we do. Just keep listing and selling homes and love what we do, and the money becomes the byproduct. And when you're on 100%, it's just like the money machine's on. I'm living the dream, and I'm not frightened to say it now. I think I needed to get the runs on the board to be able to know that in my heart. I'm enjoying being me, and people deal with me and not so much the brand. The brand's great. The brand carries everything that I need, but ultimately people are dealing with me. It doesn't change whether it's 10 years ago or 15 years ago or now. I'm probably more skilled now than what I ever has been. So, to me, I think that's an important thing. So, but from a financial freedom point of view, I've been able to do things this year I've never been able to do in my whole life. Which has just been amazing. And again, I've got the eXp to thank for that. It wouldn't have happened any other way from a financial point of view, which has been great. So it has turned my life around.
That's amazing. I get phone calls from Lisa. Mark and I talk like every week. Like we talk a few times a week, just about anything or just about work or whatever it might be, right? We're pretty close. And we mates as well. We'll go fishing together and things like this as well. And the fishing weather is coming, so we're looking forward to that. But when Mark rings me up, he goes, mate, I've never had more money in my entire life. This is a gentleman who's been a top performing agent for 24 years. So let's just look at this from a real focusing in point. In his own words, he picks up the phone and says, Bjorn, I've never had more money, and I've never had more freedom, and I've never felt more relaxed, and I've never felt less stress, and I've never felt less anxiety, and I've never felt like I've been able to provide more for my family than what I have right now in my 24-year career.
100%.
As a top producing performing agent. When as a sponsor who's introduced somebody to the organization, as Lisa introduced me to this opportunity, and I love Lisa to death for it. We're like besties, and I'll always love you for it, Lisa. And now Lisa and I have introduced this opportunity to Mark, and I'm sure you love us too, Mark. But when you hear people that are changing their lives, that are happy, and when you get a phone call saying, I've never had more money in my life, more freedom, less stress, less anxiety, I've never felt more myself. I wish this was around 20 years ago when I started, which is exactly what I say.
Yeah.
That's the reality of this thing. That's the strength of eXp. Yeah. So we understand you're loving life, you're enjoying everything. What was your biggest aha moment when you joined eXp? What was the penny drop moment? Because obviously when you still came on board early, there was still a bit of skepticism. You're trying it out, you're feeling it out. Is this the real deal? Is this not the real deal? You know, what was your big penny drop moment where you were just like, yep, I've made the right choice?
Hitting that 100% mark was probably the big thing for me. I mean, you hear it, you see it, you're out there pushing it on Facebook going, agents earn 100% and 100%. And in your back of your mind, really, that's what you want. That's why I've joined eXp. Who doesn't want to earn 100%? Let's be real. And as I said to you, and I've already covered that, if you don't, you're probably lying. I mean, to me, of course you want to earn 100%.
Yeah.
Sometimes that will come at a cost, but this, I think, that's what did it for me was that penny drop moment when all of a sudden you start to, you look at your pay slip and you go, wow, I've got paid every set of that commission and eXp took nothing at all. And that's when you realize you're not working for a boss. I think right there is the point that you're working for yourself. It's not a boss. And I think some agents aspirate to want to run an office. And I've got to be honest, I got caught up in that trap at the end of my Ray White days, where you do that well and you want to run an office. And I did run an office for a couple of years and probably did okay. But what I learned that I needed 3 or 4 of me. One of me just wasn't enough. One is not enough to go around. You can't be everything to everybody. And even though my figures are always pretty good, writing 30, 40, 50K a month, even 60, 70 a month, it's just you still need 3 or 4 performers when you run an office because your overheads are so high. Average office overhead to keep an office open, it's 40. You've got to write 40, 50, 60 grand a month just to keep the doors open on a small office. And it's probably increased since then as well because the costs go up as well.
Yeah, exactly.
eXp costs you $275 a month. That's it. And you've got everything you need.
Yeah.
So just for the people that don't know, when Mark says about 100% commission, we're on a 75% split for our first 100,000. So that's $25,000 that we pay into eXp, and then we pay $275 a month, right? So it's pay as you go, right? So we are in this company for $28,300 a year. That is all that they take, and they provide admin support. They provide trust accounting. They pay suppliers. They pay our invoices. We've got marketing teams. We've got everything that anyone in an office has, and I think it's better than an office, Mark. You've come from some pretty good franchises. How do you find our back-end support and our resources compared to what you had at the office? Is it on par? Is it inferior? Is it better? Worse? What is it?
It's on par and better as far as I'm concerned. I mean, look, same deal. You've got the support in all the areas that I've always had from all the major franchises to me, so no different at all. Again, with marketing, you're able to do things a little bit differently and do it your way rather than that's the branding and that's what you've got to stick with. And if you don't like it, lump it. And 9 times out of 10, I was never happy with the marketing that was put out. I just had to be happy because that's what the brand did. Whereas now I've definitely got more of an instrumental say on what goes out and what's got my face on it. But it's been great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, so a lot of agents might be scared about coming to eXp because they think, oh gosh, I've got to start again. I'm starting from scratch. How was that for you?
I thought that this is a good question. I think right at the moment, it depends how long you've been in business for. As I said to Bjorn, coming over and learning about the eXp structure and what's there, I don't think this is for everybody. If you're new to the business, I think you're going to find things a lot tougher because you need to be entrepreneurial. You need to be that sort of person that leads the way and know what you want in your business because nobody's going to give it to you on a silver platter, so to speak. I mean, I guess that's why you spend that little bit of time in a franchise. So therefore, I used it as a reset for my business. I think because you've been in the game so long, to me, the game's so long, things can become very stale. And if you're an agent that's been in the game 10 or 15 years or even 8 years and you go, look, a bit stale with what you're doing, it's an opportunity to reset your business, refresh your business and look at what you want in the future. I think the point in the franchise thing, I was so frustrated having all the blockers in a franchise that at that point I really knew what I wanted in my business and what I needed to get out there, but whether I could do it within those boundaries of that business was the problem. Coming over to eXp, it allowed me to go, right, what do I want? What do I need to put it out there, and what do I need to do? So I spent the first month really looking at just resetting my business, which has been a breath of fresh air. Getting the brand out there, getting my face out there, letting people know that I'm with the XP, and not being frightened of that. I think, once you overcome that hurdle and stop worrying about what people think, it just flourished. And now everybody says to me, "Oh, Mark, you're doing so well," and seeing you're selling so many homes and their successes, and people are not worried about the brand; they're worrying about what Mark Lloyd's doing, which is great.
You're the brand. You're the brand.
That's right, exactly correct.
Can I quickly ask you a few questions, Mark, and just give me a very quick yes or a no? Is eXp living up to its expectations?
Yes.
Is eXp making it easy for you to list properties with the resources it provides?
Yes. I've actually got greater flexibility. I know you said yes or no, but our tiered subscriptions and things like that give me far greater flexibility with clients. It's great.
Is there anything about eXp that you're disappointed in, that you were expecting before you came but has not delivered?
Sorry, rephrase that. Sorry.
Is there anything that you were expecting when you came into eXp that has not been delivered? And be honest.
I can't say so. If anything, I think it's probably delivered more than I expected. You expect to have a working model or something to work with, but it's given me far greater than what I expected.
And are you happier here, honestly, than what you have been anywhere else where you previously worked?
Absolutely. I love the freedom, loving the money. That's what it's all about. And still enjoy the people that I'm working with. I think the people we work with are very friendly. So yes.
That's so good.
Cool.
And you've got your band as well. I mean, you're just living the rock star life. Yeah. What is it? It's Pink Floyd, isn't it? Pink Floyd.
I've got a Pink Floyd tribute band.
Yeah.
It's funny because before I got into real estate, I managed a music shop for 10 years. I worked at Music Corner in Salisbury, and that's where I got to know a lot of people within the area and built those relationships, which I was able then to carry on with real estate. And I've sold a lot of homes to people I knew back then since. And that's where I met Bjorn in the music shop as well. We come and bought something off of me.
Really?
This is when I was becoming an aspiring rapper. When I was, I would have been 18 years old or something, and I wanted to be a DJ, and I bought turntables, and I bought an MC 505 from Mark, and I bought a digital 8-track recorder and all this sort of stuff, and never eventuated with any of it. It was just a hobby, but it was a fun hobby. And I met Mark because he sold me an MC, I think it was an MC 505. And now I call him Mark Floyd, or
that's what I was going to say.
Because of his Mark Floyd cover band.
You took that away from me. I was going to say, is he going to change his name to Mark Floyd?
Sorry.
Okay, Bjorn, can you do a little rap about Mark? Come on, I'll put you on the spot. Your name was Big Dog. Can you or not?
No, not here, not today. Like I say that if you want to make money, cool money, Mark, because Money Mark's at eXp and he's living at large. He's doing his best, the best that he can. eXp's his vent where he can.
How good's that?
All right. So the last question, Mark, if somebody's sitting on the fence, they're working at a franchise, they are, not happy where they are, what would you tell them?
Reach out, have a chat to you, Lisa. I think, look, first of all, coming in, there's a great website, Life at eXp, I think it is, that really shares that open book of what to expect. And just talking to somebody like yourself. Now, obviously, Lisa, you're not a selling agent as such. You're more of a mentor and a coach. And I think having that open opinion is great as well. You're ramming it down people's throats because you're a selling agent. Again, you're wanting to help people and help people move forward. And there's value in that. It's great. It's inspiring. So just be able to have a chat to yourself. And I think, any one of us, wanting to build a team, reach out. I'll buy a coffee and come and share my experience and tell you what it's all about. I would strongly recommend it. Do it. Take the risk. And with risk comes reward. I mean, nothing happens on a silver platter. Nothing's easy these days. But, if you back yourself in and truly believe what you do is right and be ethical about what you do, eXp gives you everything you need to to be able to operate a great business. And what's inspiring as well, look, Tim Hoskins inspires me as well. He was a great performer and came from the same company I did at Harris, and he was doing exceptionally well, and he's doing even better now. I mean, he's just smashing it. I love listening to Tim, and I love listening about what he does. Why? Because he's real. Just sit down and listen to him for 10 or 15 minutes, and you're just getting an honest person. Why wouldn't you want to sell a home with him, And it's not the brand, but what he provides and how he comes across is great. There's so much to learn. So there's lots of resources within the eXp boundaries to feed off of. And when you think you know it all, I've been doing it for 23 years. There's always something more to extract out of it and listen to other people and get so much out of it. So, do it. Don't hold back. I think you'd be happy.
Absolutely. I think anybody that's thinking about joining, definitely, I think Mark give you a call because you've had so much experience in the different franchises, and probably people that are listening to this have been into some of those franchises. So they've probably got questions about what did you do with this? What did you do with that? So, I think, are you okay if people give you a call? And
absolutely. My phone's always on. Absolutely.
Yeah, it could be anywhere from Australia or around the world, because we're in 32 countries now. So, I would suggest to give you a call and talk to you about your experiences. And there's a lot of stuff that you haven't shared here that's been absolutely phenomenal as well. So I think definitely give Mark a call. Then I'm happy to run through the model with anybody. But definitely Mark's got a lot of experience. He's a great guy. South Australia particularly has an amazing support network with Chris and Bjorn and all of the agents there. You'd be crazy not to join. Absolutely crazy not to join. Bjorn, did you want to add anything before we wrap it up?
Yeah, just for those that don't know, we have a team of 57 agents that we've grown here in South Australia in the past 5 years. And the one thing that every agent says to me all the time is, I wish I would have done it sooner.
Yes.
And you can ring any of them and they'll all say that, honestly. I love eXp. I live and breathe eXp. And the reason for it is we've created a very good culture. It's very, very heavily geared around ethics and morals. We're trying to be an extremely ethical, extremely morally correct company. And we have a lot of training around that as well. And we're looking for the right people. And if you are somebody that is thinking about joining, not only can you earn 75% for your first 100,000 and then 100% for everything after that, meaning that you've got a $275 admin fee, which covers all of your expenses and all of your costs. So for $28,300, that's your total paying for the company. So if you're writing 500,000 minus 28,300, that's what you earn with us. If you're writing 200 minus 28,300, that's what you earn with us. If you're writing 2 million minus 28,300, that's what you earn with us. Look at your numbers. You can also grow a rent roll, and eXp does not have any share of your rent roll. You can basically bring clients on. You receive 1.1 weeks letting fee, and you own the saleable asset of the rent roll. You can also grow a team and be rewarded with some revenue share by introducing other agents to the team. And we are a global company in soon to be 32 countries with over 88,000 agents worldwide where you can collaborate and network with. So there are 5 pillars of income: listings and sales, rent roll, growing a team with revenue share. Then you've also got company shares, which they reward us with throughout for doing certain things. And then we've got referrals. So there are 5 pillars of income. If you'd like to take your income to the next level from 1 pillar of income to 5, reach out to any of the eXp agents. If you're looking for somebody experienced to guide you, Mark Lloyd here is an absolute legend. He is somebody who I've looked up to as a mentor, and we're here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Thank you, guys. And I'll put all Mark's details underneath the podcast and also YouTube and everywhere as well. But definitely reach out to Mark.
Thanks for having me, Lisa.
Thank you so much. See you guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you for listening to Let's Talk About Real Estate podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have a question about real estate, then please join the group on Facebook, also called Let's Talk About Real Estate. For those of you who are interested in eXp, please join us at 10 a.m. Brisbane time every Wednesday morning for eXp Explained. Thank you again for joining us, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, and see you next week.